Why are we still here? Just to suffer? Every night I can feel my Elder Scrolls and my Fallout, even my Starfield. What was lost? Oh, hi there. Don't mind me nostalgia baiting myself over here in the corner. It might feel like Bethesda has dropped the ball with some of their recent game releases, but that doesn't mean that their impact can't be felt throughout the industry. Some of that Bethesda magic has even continued on to make some absolutely incredible things. Speaking of which, this right here is not Skyrim. It's definitely not Skyrim. It's Tainted Grail, the Fall of Avalon, a game that I covered in early access a few months ago. It borrows heavily from many other RPG tropes, with elements of Skyrim, Dark Souls, Diablo, and many others leaking into this dark fantasy setting. But this game is really special, because unlike a big studio attempting to make an RPG, this is an indie studio in Poland funded by a board game publisher. It's steeped with the right amount of Eurojank to create a game that somehow takes itself seriously enough that when you break the game it still feels fantastic. And simultaneously you're adventuring in a world that balances Monty Python references with some of the cringiest dramatic acting I've ever seen. Needless to say, I love this game. And so, as a special treat to the developers, I wanted to do what I do best. I want to break this game. I want to show off just how far I can push this passion project and render all of those balance patches meaningless. I will not stop until I've created a character that cannot be defeated by anything in existence and can punch a hole through the fabric of space and time. I am the Spiffing Brit, and I welcome you to my perfectly balanced world. Welcome into the game, ladies and gentlemen, where of course we have ourselves a character creator. Now, unlike Skyrim, there really isn't that many options, but for some reason you can very easily create a character who looks like Tod Howard, the wonderful and majestic god of Skyrim himself. And so that is of course who we're going to be playing as today. First, we just need to give him his classically ritual satanic markings, and there we go, he looks absolutely perfect to me. Now you might be saying, why Tod Howard? Well, I mean, of course, he created Skyrim, so logically he's going to be the best possible person for finding out if this game is actually Skyrim, or in the very least discovering all of the many overpowered and completely broken gameplay mechanics. All praise our god. Let us begin. And of course, just like Skyrim, Tod awakens inside of a prison cell, because all good RPGs for some reason start with a prison break. Now you can kind of probably already see where we're going here. Just like in Oblivion, you have some dialogue options that will allow you to design your starting character, until eventually you're Deus Ex Machina'd out of the cell. In this case, by a ghost. I mean, how else can you explain the screen tearing? Maybe because it's a Unity game. Okay, maybe it's actually because it's a Unity game. Now, once freed from our cell, we can loot everything off of the body left outside. But now is a great time to probably talk about some of the things that have changed since early access. We now have fancy third person so you can admire your Tod Howard. The game has been rebalanced to make everything fair, and the maps have been updated and expanded. I wonder if that means they took the smut off the wall. Nope, they're still there. Right, so we've got ourselves our first enemy in the game, and you'll immediately notice that a lot of this game kind of has slightly Souls-like combat. I've got a dodge thing, I can do a melee attack, and then most of the combat basically revolves around me hitting an enemy and then try and dodge out of the way of its retaliation. But unfortunately for us, that is the easiest enemy in the game. From here, things get a lot more difficult, and I'll demonstrate this now by using a classic sword and shield. Over here we have ourselves an undead zombie. In most games they're just a basic enemy, and that means that even with me hitting him, he does a huge amount of damage. I can try and block, but quite a few of his attacks still go through. There we go, we have managed to slay him, but I'm nearly at the bottom of my health pool. Now, in Tod Howard's perfectly balanced and fair Skyrim, he rightfully knew that this is a point where gamers would need to heal up, and so that's why he made sure to give every starting player a healing spell. This game has no such healing spell, and so that means in order for us to get our health back, we're going to have to either cook food like an absolute chump, or chug relatively expensive healing potions. But anyway, most of this area is unchanged since our last video, so I'll be back after I've escaped the prison. Right, okay, I've finally made my way outside of the tutorial area. What happens now is we're meant to board the boat with the gentleman who freed us from our prison cell. However, I have an alternative strategy in mind. I want to become more powerful than I currently am, and the best way in order to do that is to level up one of my stats. Now, there are many different stats that you get from just playing the game. Your archery skill is improved by just hitting things with a bow. Heavy armor is improved by wearing heavy armor and being hit with a weapon. Now, some of the statistics are more useful than others. For example, one of the best ways to cheese combat in this game is to simply stand on an elevated ledge. The AI's pathfinding then breaks down, and it allows you to hit the enemy with a ranged attack without taking any damage. Good classic RPG cheese. But in order to jump onto a high place, well, you're going to want some athletic skill. And thankfully, outside of the spawn area is this lovely rock here. All you need to basically do is find somewhere where you can basically get your head locked underneath an actual structure. In my case, I've wandered off into the sea a bit and found a rock that I can bang my head against. Then all you're going to want to do is go into third person mode, and then just simply every time you push the spacebar, you can immediately push it again, which allows you to execute another full jump. This in turn gives you a copious amount of experience, which for some reason is increased by the fact that you're going in and out of water. And yes, every once in a while I need to take a step back and get my oxygen back, but then all I need to do once my oxygen is here is find my position back underneath the rock and start mashing the spacebar again. Yes, you could go to the gym to level up your gams, or you could be like me. Yes, Todd Howard, you have incredible legs. It's what famously everyone says when they first meet Todd Howard. This is definitely a 100% true certified Bethesda fact. Anyway, I'll be back as soon as I've finished jumping harder than anyone's ever jumped before. I've been jumping up against a rock now for around about 10 minutes, and that's 10 minutes of my finite life I'm not getting back. After that time, we've now achieved an agility score of 83. The higher agility score means that we can just jump higher, which is, pretty useful for combat. But it's time for us to level up, and the only way we can do that is by talking to Caradoc here. Now, of course, he is the gentleman who freed me from prison. However, he's a little bit confused as to how we managed to survive. Basically, Arthur Pendragon previously died and has been resurrected as a spirit that is now inside of our body. Because of that, he is giving us additional powers. However, he might not necessarily be a good guy, as he appears to have amnesia. And Caradoc here says every time that Arthur Pendragon's brought back to life, the world gets even worse. Now, we're of course going to lie to him and tell him nothing about King Arthur.
Really? My goal is to destroy King Arthur.
There you go, good for him. So we now get the ability to build a bonfire. Yep, that's right. No, this isn't Dark Souls. This is a completely unique RPG mechanic where we can rest, level up, and restore some of our power. And talk to Big Daddy Arthur Pendragon.
Well, that man really hates me.
So we get to level up twice thanks to the fact that I've just been jumping against a rock. I'm going to sink 1 point into strength and 1 point into endurance. But most importantly, we get to go down the skill tree. Yes, check out this bad boy. We've got skill trees for just about everything in a game. We got movement, we've got daggers. We've even got a dedicated tree for status effects. Oh, Todd, you know you love it. Now I'm going to sink 1 point into mercantile skills and another into armor. There we go, perfect. So from here on out, we're meant to basically press E and sail on to the next location. The only problem for poor Caradoc here is he is no longer an essential NPC, and that means we can do something pretty silly. You see, we can actually attack him. Now, attacking him doesn't sound like a good idea, and that's because it actually isn't. It's a truly terrible one. Now, curiously, because of the way the developers have designed the game, if I attack Caradoc with a ranged attack, he's going to immediately pull out of his bow and start doing a ranged attack back. However, if I hit him with a melee attack, well, that's all he's going to be hitting me with. So yes, I hit Caradoc with an attack, and well, this is where... So I'm going to be a little bit cheeky and do a little wind-up power attack and whack Caradoc here a couple of times with a sword. Then all I'm going to do is stand on top of this boat. This means that Caradoc thinks I'm in melee range, which means he's going to try and do melee attacks at me. Unfortunately for Caradoc, I don't have to obey by his rules, and that means I can simply attack him quite safely with ranged attacks. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now we've of course drained an entire mana bar and we've taken out basically none of his health. He has the ability to one-hit us. We are definitely not meant to be able to fight him. But hey, it's not going to stop me, so I'm just going to repeatedly yeet fireballs at him, and then I'm going to use my god power to slow down time, drink more mana potions, and then just repeatedly hit him again with even more fire attacks.
Face me.
And well, that's him dead. Rest in peace, we now get 5,000 experience, which is enough to level us up twice. We get his sword. It's Wolf's Howl. It increases critical chance by 8%. Meanwhile, his superior bow here is really good, but it requires 10 dexterity and 10 perception. We definitely don't have that. What we do have is a very wiggly codpiece. Todd, can you please get your codpiece under control, sir? Some people just can't contain their excitement. Anyway, we get to level up again. Alright, so with a new level up under our belt, we're now ready to make our way to the shore. So, huzzah, we get ourselves into a little bit of a shipwreck and we land on the shores at the start of the actual game. But we don't land as a level 1 scrub. No, we land as a level 5 warrior with a sword that we can now use. So let's go introduce ourselves to the locals. Who have we got over here? Oh, it's a corpse eater. Nice to see you, sir. There we go. One big hit and that's half your health gone. Hey, sir, don't throw that rock at me. That's rude. Bonk. There you go. You get 100 XP from that. Very nice. Oh, would you look at that? There's some wolves off in the distance. Well, I guess we can make friends with the local furry population. Yeet. Okay, he's coming at me. Right, heavy attack charge and yeet. Okay, that was quite effective. Good stuff. Now, to be honest, killing an essential NPC like that is slightly a Bethesda thing. I mean, after all, in New Vegas, you could still beat the game by murdering everyone. But no, in Skyrim, Tod handed out more essential characters than the average Game of Thrones plot, which meant that, yeah, you could basically kill no one. So for this game to make it achievable, well, that's just a lovely thing, isn't it? Oh look, it's a legally not dragon. Anyway, we've got some undead in front of us, which we can just absolutely smash. Wow. Now, jumping around like a character from Berserk does definitely make me a little bit more of an intimidating character, although that does feel slightly diminished by the fact that I move in such a funny way because of my stats. Anyway, there we go. That's another enemy murdered. And we're going to be making our way towards that big castle over there, because that's where we get to start our exploits. But along the way, we're going to meet a very interesting gentleman. This chappie kneeling down here. Their name is Abagor and they're a knight. Similar to the old orc in Skyrim, all he wants is a nice noble duel to the death. However, unlike that lovely gentleman, this man is absolutely insane. Allow me to demonstrate by challenging them to a fight. So yes, I pull out my sword and he just runs at me. Okay, knocks me over. Come on, dodge, 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 dodge. There we go, we can parry that, and let's get our attack off. Oh, don't you throw stuff at me. And we attack, and we die immediately. Yes, this is because not only is he a ridiculously high-level enemy, he's also holding a shield that reflects back damage. That's a bit of a problem. Tod hates damage reflection so much that after Oblivion, he decided Skyrim needed the most watered-down version possible. Now, my long-term goal today, ladies and gentlemen, is to become a complete god. I want infinite money, infinite power. I want to become unkillable. That NPC down there can kill me in 2 hits. And if I try and fight back, I will simply die. So yes, I want to exploit the game in order to become so powerful that I can defeat them. So it's into the fortress we go. There we go, we've made our way to the Horns of the South. This is a somewhat dilapidated fortress staffed by a knightly order, but it's here where we're going to be able to get our exploit underway. So for my first mission, I want to be able to defeat the knight that's outside. In order to do that, I'm going to need some better equipment. Now, one of the ways you get better equipment is by going over to this wonderful grindstone here. From this point, you can then craft new items, like say some wooden arrows, or you can upgrade your existing items. Take, for example, the Wolf's Howl here. By spending 2 iron ore and a sharpening stone as well as 100 gold, we can improve this item and increase its damage by 2. That would be really useful, but unfortunately I don't have any of those materials. And whilst this lovely blacksmith merchant does indeed have access to them, I'm incredibly poor, so that means I can't afford them. Or at least that's what the game wants you to think. Because I'm about to demonstrate an incredible exploit. All you're going to want to do in order to pull it off is to find an item of high value. In our case, this ranger cuirass here. We got this from killing Caradoc, and we can currently sell it to a merchant for 300 gold. But remember, I'm playing as Todd Howard, the man who introduced the merchant trading bug in Skyrim. So of course there's one in this game too. Simply hover over your high value item here, then press F in order to reorder and sort the items in this inventory. In our case, we eventually get to the newest section, and you'll notice that my mouse is now on top of a dress. Now, even though I have this new item selected with my mouse, the item that the game says I'm going to be selling is the ranger's cuirass, and it hasn't updated the UI to adjust for that. that. So what I'm going to do quite simply is click my mouse button to sell, and you'll notice that the item is gone. And now it says I'm going to be selling a ragged villager's dress. But interestingly, something magical happens. You see Tod worms his way into the code and tells the AI that actually I'd like to just do the same action again. I would like to sell that ranger's armor. Now the merchant says, hang on a second, I have the ranger's armor in my inventory. Why am I going to give you money for something I already have that you no longer have? And the answer to that, ladies and gentlemen, is it just works. Because even though I no longer have the item, you'll notice that in the top right, every time I click my mouse, I am making money because I'm somehow managing to sell the ranger armor that I no longer have to this merchant. Now, provided I don't move my mouse from outside of this window, I can keep making that money. And so all I'm going to do is quite simply activate myself a little auto clicker and we'll watch as my money goes up. Ah, it's perfectly balanced, ladies and gentlemen. I love that noise. I've somehow gone from having 200 gold to now having just over 1 million. Of course, this did come at a loss. After all, I've lost the item over here. The Ranger's Cuirass is inside of this merchant's inventory, and maybe it's an item I'd like to have. Well, if that's the case, I can simply buy back for 300 gold. Yep, that's it. I've basically wandered up to this merchant, sold him the same item over and over again, 1,000,000 times, and then said, actually, no, I'll be having it back for 300 gold. All whilst permanently bankrupting the man for the rest of eternity. So where do we go from here? Well, logically, I want to improve my items. So I'm going to buy myself some fire arrows, some copper arrows, some leather, maybe some feathers, 100 copper ore and 100 iron ore, and all of these sharpening stones. Lovely. So with all of that now in my inventory, I can go up to this grindstone here and improve my existing gear. I'm going to take the Wolf's Howl sword and spend 2 iron and a stone in order to give it some more damage. And then I can do it again and again and again and again and again. And oh dear, you can see where this is going. So there we go. I spent all 15 grindstones and the Wolf's Howl is now doing 56 damage. This is twice what an item I am not meant to actually own is meant to be doing. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Now here's the thing, unfortunately I've maxed out the sword as high as I can go. The merchant is now out of sharpening stones, which means I can't continue to upgrade anything. However, I still can, because by simply placing down a bonfire and resting for 48 hours, the merchant's inventory is going to be reset, meaning that after that quick little refresh, I'm able to go over to this gentleman here, open up his shop, and buy 11 brand new sharpening stones. Now the game is aware that I'm kind of cheesing its systems, and so in order to upgrade the Wolf's Howl even more, it's going to cost additional silver. So yes, whilst I will do it a couple more times, the sword is now up to doing 60 to 62 damage, and that's enough for me at the moment. I'm going to sink instead some extra upgrades into this longbow to make it slightly more powerful, and then my armor to make it slightly more solid. Perfect, we now have a more powerful sword, a more powerful bow, and things are looking great. But even so, I'm not certain if it's actually enough to defeat this big red knight. I am going to give it a try though. So I drop down myself a save, we walk on up to this gentleman, and I'm going to prepare a power attack. And yep, okay, we did do a decent amount of damage, but he still has a seemingly large amount of health. And yes, we just die immediately. Okay, right, it's safe to say even with big sword, this knight is not going to go down easy. So even though I can't kill that knight over there, how about this desperate peasant? Yeet! Oh, he lived, he survived one hit and then he got backhanded. Okay, how about this desperate peasant? Oh, you just got sent into the floor. And then there's you. Oh, you also got sent into the floor and you bounced back. Oh, hello, sir. Goodbye. Oh, unfortunately, you're also dead. So at this point, it was clear that I wasn't lacking damage, but maybe it just wasn't the strength for this knight, as thanks to his gear, he can reflect any damage we do back at me. So I set off to not only gain a few more levels, but also to track down a very special spell that I think will be perfect for cheesing the fight with the knight. Oh my, and who's this? Hello there, disgraced nobleman. Sir, please, put that thing away. Oh, you're dead. Desperate peasant, also dead. Oh, and that's level 9. Oh my goodness, the disgraced nobleman was out here reading smut. We're not reading this. Oh my god, it's horrible. What is it with this game and Liliana's adventure? I don't want to know what her adventure is. It doesn't sound very pleasant. However, more importantly, I'm on a mission. The mission is the Silk Road quest, a relatively simple quest that involves us depositing a package and blowing it up. However, along the way, there are of course enemies like these corpse eaters, but we kind of just whack them around a bit, and yeah, that solves most of our problems. Anyway, we've made our way over to our mission objective, the Ruined Brush. In this area, there is a really dangerous big enemy troll. As you can imagine, you don't want to mess with the guy. He's got a ridiculous amount of health, and even with our upgrades, we would definitely struggle. But we need to get past him in order to get the spell we're after. However, we can cheese this fight a little bit. By simply stealthing around this big ogre, we're going to be able to deposit the package on the spot. And as has been alluded to me, this package contains an explosive payload. And seeing as we have ourselves a very big enemy in front of us, I think it only makes sense for us to, blow up two birds with one stone. So that's what we're going to do. Let's simply place down our explosive package, yeet the ogre like so, wait for him to start wandering over towards us, and then hit the package. There we go. Nice and easy. That's an entire ogre bounty we've just claimed. Now that we've gained access to this area, we can now descend into the prison, where we're going to find one very eccentric character.
This place is perfect.
Here he is, it's the one and only Rumpold Finini. Now this man is legally distinct, not the Daedric Prince of Mischief. However, he does give us one very mischievous spell, something so overpowered that I know Todd wants to add it into Elder Scrolls 6. But yes, this man is some sort of mad undead chef, and in order to get the spell we're after, we're gonna have to help him prepare a couple of meals. The first is the Cheese Ball of Doom, which is easy enough to make, but the next dish requires a very special herring, so we're going to have to go fishing. Wow, my goodness, we sent people flying. Now, on my quest, we do have to fight a fair few drowners along the way, but I'm somewhat pretty good at combat now, so that's no problem at all. Now over here, my mission is to quite simply catch a fish, and I don't have a fishing rod. Right, back to the town, I need to buy myself a fishing rod. Here we go, it's a lovely two-handed weapon. Yes, technically you can attack someone with it, but most importantly, I'm here to fish for a particularly rare herring. Amazing. Of course the game has a fishing minigame. Every game needs a fishing minigame. Come on, let's get that fish. Come on, yeah, what do we get? It's a really special herring. So there we go, one really special herring collected for one weird undead chef. Now, in order to finish off this mission, I'm just going to need to buy myself some additional cheese, and now I can finally execute one of the grandest creations ever conceived. A pickled herring cheese soup. It sounds utterly horrible, but hey, here we are. Sour herring and cheese. Wabam! Now it's time to talk to Rumpold about it.
I can smell it.
And there we go. After completing that quest, we get a little bit of experience. Our time with him is done, and he has given us a brand new spell. This is a very unique spell. It's called Rumpold's Revenge. Provided you have the magic to cast it, it allows you to magically convert the body of one of your enemies into pure condensed cheese. Now, if that isn't the most British thing in the universe, I don't know what is. And so allow me to demonstrate its prowess on this undead in front of me. Calm down, sir. Your body is being turned to cheese. Now is not the time to be alarmed or to panic. Yes, here we go. Through the power of magic. Cheese. Incredible. Now, because this spell technically doesn't do any damage, that means that the knight won't be able to use his shield to reflect any damage back to me. So, without the fear of completely offing myself with my own sword, it's time for a rematch. Yes, I've got my cheese spell equipped in one hand and the Silent Weaver in another. This is a wand that just lowers the casting cost of my cheese spell. Alright, and now that I'm ready with my cheese spell, it's time for us to murder Abagor. Yep, oh, they're resistant. They're resistant. Seriously, game, I can't believe it. Right, I tried to cheese you in the fairest way possible, and this is how you treat me. Fine, I'm gonna have to cheese you even more. Okay, well, Abagor is very politely going to stand still and allow me to yeet stuff into his head. Of course, if I accidentally hit his shield, I will die, but provided that's not the case, I can just keep on throwing stuff at him. Right, there we go. We're just going to repeatedly yeet this man in the face with our bow and arrow. Because, yeah, the devs didn't pathfind the enemy correctly, so I am more than happy to cheese this over and over again. Yes, Abagor's starting to get nice and low now. And I'm, of course, in zero danger, for he is unable to attack me. Hey, that was... Okay, sure, yeah, you do that just to prove a point, sir. You throw a single rock at me every now and again. Unfortunately, you're going to need more than a single rock in order to defeat the likes of me. Alright, and so, Abagor, unfortunately for you, you are one arrow away from death. And that's it. Perfect. There we go, lovely. You drop a huge amount of incredible items that I want to get my hands on. Look at them. Now, as the knight was one of the toughest enemies in the area, I think it's a good idea to progress the plot, so that we can challenge some of the tougher enemies in the later zones, where we can also farm for more advanced materials that will let us upgrade our gear into the silly realm. Right, and after respecking my character, I'm now actually able to change some of my equipment. We're going to grab the dual knight armor here. We can also use these lovely trousers and these lovely boots, but most importantly, the gloves and the cape are what we're going to want to use. For you see, by combining the 8% increase in critical chance from our sword with the 10% increase from this cape and the 7% increase from this orb, we can now take a look at our character stats and see that we now have a 26% chance of landing a critical hit every time we attack. That sounds pretty good to me. But along the way towards our final goal, we do actually run into another little boss fight with this gentleman, Senon the Giant. He's pretty darn big, but unfortunately for him, I'm of course now pretty powerful. So yes, these two highwaymen that we run into, we're just going to smash them out of existence. And then for Senon, well, it's going to take a couple of hits, but unfortunately for him, I'm an absolute warrior now. So there we go, Senon the Giant is dead. Now, another thing we did pick up from the Dual Knight is his lovely shield. This is the shield that reflects back damage. Now, the damage we do is relative to our overall armor stat, and currently that sits at only a 25% damage reduction. This can, of course, be massively improved with time. Oh, but look, we've got ourselves some bandit men. Let me just use my shield. There we go, sir. You can bonk me. Keep bonking me, sir. Does very little health damage, but it does help level up some of my skills. There we go, we get another bit of skill into blocking and heavy armor. Come on, gents, please, come on. I haven't got all day. Do more damage towards me, please. Thank you. Right, this man in front of me is now going to die. Yep. Right, come on, Archer. This is some good experience we're getting from this. Very nice. Oh, he's drinking a health potion now. Great, this fight can go on even longer. This is basically a mirror of an exploit that Tod invented in Skyrim. Basically, if you want to level up your armor stats, you can just find an incredibly weak enemy and then just have them repeatedly hit you. And there we go, fantastic. Using just a wooden shield, we have managed to murder this archer. So yes, with our new overpowered gear, we're easily able to progress through the main story. Oh, and on the way, I pick up a weird egg, which hatches into this thing. Yeah. Anyway, we finally get to test our pull-out game on Arthur's sword, if you know what I mean, and get treated to some incredible melodrama acting.
They volunteered to save our kingdom.
And with that, we're finally able to explore the next region of the game. Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen to the brand new region of Quanacht. Yes, that's definitely how it's pronounced. I've headed into this area for one main reason. It has significantly more spawn points for meteorite ore, the item that I am most definitely going to need in order to improve all of my loot. There's just one slight downside. This is the second region of the game, which means some of the enemies here are significantly more difficult. Okay, I just died instantly. So yeah, the enemies have gotten more difficult, and even with my incredibly cheesed overpowered sword of infinite damage, this isn't exactly going to be an easy fight. Right, let's give it another try. Bam, bam, bam. There we go. Keep hitting. Keep hitting. Oh my god, I just have to dodge the laser beam. Oh my goodness, that laser beam is ridiculous. Right, there we go. Fantastic. Ow, ow. Oh my gosh, I hate the laser beam. Okay, right, so I've arrived in the second area, and I'm meant to be harvesting resources, but these little eyeball guys, who are literally like just, I don't know, the first enemy you face in the zone, probably the equivalent of a wolf, are basically just two-hitting me to death. This is after the fact that I'm wearing some pretty ridiculously upgraded gear that is giving me a 48% armor rating. Yes, we are still getting decimated. Right, well, there's only one logical solution, and that's to think a little bit outside of the box. Where's this guy going? Is he coming towards me? Sir, please? Oh, he's seen me. Okay, so one of them's dead, and I think it's probably time that I try and cheese the game. So the way in which we're going to do this is with a combination of two spells, Rumpolt's Revenge and Wolf's Call. Wolf's Call is a summoning spell. It basically allows me to summon this lovely little wolf companion, and then the cheese spell is going to allow me to turn a target into cheese. And so that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to quite simply turn my wolf here into a tasty portion of cheese, and huzzah, one wolf has now been safely converted into cheese form. Now, why on earth would we even want cheese? Well, it's quite simple, ladies and gents. You see, by placing down a campfire, I can cook. And by placing in a lovely recipe of just 3 cheeses, we can make the cheese ball of doom. A relatively simple recipe that is going to do a lot of magical things. For you see, we no longer need healing potions. We just need the cheese spell. And seeing as the cheese spell is ever so good, I'm going to be, of course, turning even more of my pet wolves into cheese. There we go, splendid. One more wolf summoned, one more wolf turned into a delicious pile of yummy cheese. Huzzah, 7 more cheese recipes created. So now that I have all of my cheese lovingly stored up, I am ready to fight these enemies in front of me. For cheese is an incredibly powerful thing, not just in the real world, but also in video games. As you can see, I've taken some damage and I'm now regenerating that health. However, every time I press X, a new stack of cheese is added to the pile. Each stack of cheese is healing me for a percentage per second. And just like that, we defeated all the enemies without being in any actual danger. Of course, the effect of cheese actually lasts for a little while, and so I'm going to use it to deal with these enemies over here. Look at this, we've got a boss, a Camelot deserter here, and then who's this? Fawn the Bloodbound. Yeah, that's looking like a gentleman who needs a bit of a whacking. So yes, I'm going to simply chug all of my cheese, and then just like that, I should be able to heal back up to maximum health at a ridiculous rate. Yes, it doesn't matter what damage the boss does to me, I simply can't be stopped. I'm a man of exclusively cheese. Huzzah, you fool. You thought you could beat a man who knows how to turn a wolf into cheese? No, you don't. I am the most powerful being of this universe, for cheese gives me power, and cheese is infinite. So there we go, that's a boss defeated using the glorious power of cheese, both literally in the form of the food and metaphorically in the form of the fact that we've really just broke the game's balance. However, I can't be satisfied with that fight. After all, the boss took multiple hits to be killed. No, this simply won't do. I won't be satisfied until every single enemy in the game is swatted away like some kind of pesky fly, and I become truly impervious to damage. Yes, we're going to need to find a way to get meteorite ore, a lot of it, and fast. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got a fantastic offer. The wonderful and majestic Todd Howard has promised that for each like on this video, the Elder Scrolls 6 release date will be brought forwards by 1 day. Wow, isn't that truly incredible, Todd? How kind of you. Anyway, onwards with the video. Oh, how did I die? Why do you die when you exit photo mode? What is this game? What is this? Right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I've done a little bit of adventuring, and I have found myself something truly magical. Yes, whilst wandering around the map, I found the Arcanist sword. You can either get it as a random drop, or you can find it on an enemy at the entrance of the second zone. There's just one minor problem with this weapon. Like every other weapon in the game, it can be upgraded. For example, I can take my sword here and spend some resources and 60,000 gold, and it will raise the base damage by 2 points. Some weapons, however, their stats can be increased by more amounts. Take the Fawn Sword here. Sinking an upgrade into it whilst it requires meteorite ore is potentially justifiable because it will gain 3 damage per upgrade. This then brings me to the Arcanist Sword, which for some reason, instead of receiving an increase of 1, receives an increase of 21 base damage. This is absurd because what I've been able to do is just repeatedly farm meteorite ore by mining it, sleeping, and then mining it the next day. This has meant that I now have an abundance of sharpening stones and meteorite ore, as well as a very broken item that for some reason when upgraded allows me to achieve stupid amounts of damage. So now when I check my weapon, oh dear, the Arcanist sword has a base damage of 862. Now of course, because we lack the spirituality in order to properly wield this bad boy, we're only able to do a maximum of 682 damage. That is still nearly 3 times as much as my wolf's howl. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And best of all, this sword has a cool little glow. Ooh, very fun. Now out in this wilderness is some, oh yes, evil straw childs. They're piles of straw which are potentially children, but hey, I can just pummel them, and every hit I do, well, that's a 1-hit kill. What's this? More straw children? Oh, well, you die, and so do you. Oh, look at this. Here's a weird touched peasant. Dead. Now, it does actually feel very satisfying to repeatedly just pummel a child into the ground. And, oh, it's the Straw Father, a mini-boss of this area. Well, let me just quickly kill the peasant. And then, sir, allow me to deal with you. Just one charge and bonk. And then bonk, 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 and bonk, and you're dead. Thank you, Strawfather, for your attempts at surviving. Now you might think that I'm going to be contented by doing this much damage, but no, I am not content at all. After finding this exploited weapon, I'm of course going to completely alter my entire build around it. So that means I'm going to be chugging myself an origin potion, which allows me to fully respec myself, and then redistributing my level ups, making sure that I have enough points in spirituality. So now I'm completely specced out for one-handed combat. While respecking, I also got the perk that makes me do more damage based on my armor. So of course, I made sure to track down the optimum armor piece to complement this build. That's right, the Titan armor not only gives me a huge amount of armor, but also a heap of health to go alongside it. And that health bonus increases every time I upgrade the gear. I even slotted in some extra relics so that I reflect even more damage. Now with my massive health upgrades and insane weapon secured, I'm going to go and do something very silly. I'm going to sequence break this video game. Yes, we're going to run back on down to the starting area and execute what can only be described as a little minor bit of cheese. Oh, hello there, Corpse Eater. Nice to see you. Bap, you're dead. Oh, look, we've got some bandits here. Hello there, desperate peasant. Are you going to attack me? Go on, what can you do? Come on. Oh dear, you hit me. Okay, I'm on 92 health. Oh dear, right, gents, come on, keep hitting me. Keep at it. I'm still at 92 health. Okay, right, Tod Howard has achieved immortality. I can now no longer die. And of course, as they hit me, the more times they do it, the more damage they take. One of these days, you'll get through to me. Oh no, you won't. What a shame. What a shame indeed. Goodbye. So on this island, there's this wonderful door. It takes you to an incredibly powerful dungeon. Now, as we've already finished all of Act 1, we can actually interact with this and open up the door. But interestingly, you don't need to do that. No, quite simply, if you drop down a save in front of the door, and then load that save, the door will be open. This is because for some reason, several doors in this game are locked in a neutral state of being opened, and then only later is the door loaded in like so. What an incredible piece of game design. Surely no one would exploit it. Well, I'm just going to load the save for no particular reason, don't mind me. And then I'm going to open up this door and enter the tomb of Sir Lancelot. Now, this is a high-level area full of very dangerous enemies, but unfortunately for those enemies, I'm not sure if I can even take damage anymore. Look at this swanky place. It's pretty cool. Oh, look, we've got a squire. Come on, hit me, squire. Oh, dear, he didn't do any damage. Go on again. Oh, that's no damage. Okay, well, what if I get a turn hitting you? Okay, you die. And how about you? Bonk. Oh, you die too. Oh dear, I don't think the AI is going to be having a very fun time. But I'm going to be having a great experience. Oh, and who do we have here? Is this none other than Sir Lancelot? Hello, Lancelot. Nice to see you.
My hands were made to serve the king.
Now, basically, he's a little bit upset because he hasn't got his proper sword. And luckily for him, I'm going to be able to retrieve his sword. And I'm not even going to steal it because, I mean, I don't need it. I'm kind of better. The only challenge is in order to get the sword back, I have to fight this evil enemy, an Eldritch Reaver. Oh, dear, look at them. They're hitting me. Ow. Ow, don't do that. Don't hit Tod Howard. He just wants to sell you DLC. You'd love DLC, wouldn't you? Anyway, stop hitting me. Oh dear, he appears to have died in one hit. That was quite anticlimactic, wasn't it? Not exactly much of a boss fight. So there we go, we can retrieve Sir Lancelot's sword. I'm sure that'll make him nice and happy now. Alright, here you go, Lancelot.
I should have stayed in the abyss.
Okay, and so he gives me the sword. Increases physical damage by up to 200% depending on the amount of missing health. Oh, well, it's pathetic. It's useless. It requires insane amounts of stats sunk into it, and it has a base damage of 76. No, I don't think so, sir. What about the rest of your armor? Is it any good? No, it's all useless. These are effects that only activate provided your health is ridiculously low. Lancelot, I really think you're probably quite a useless knight.
A few moments later.
I've made a build that purely relies on being on low health. Yes, I know what I said, but still, all the stat requirements for the Lancelot gear were too damn high. But anyway, after getting a couple more skill points, I got the perk, Unstoppable Rage and Furious Assault, which buff my damage output the more health that I have lost. So, combine that with a Titan's armor that gives me a metric ton of HP. If I can find find a way to reliably lower my health, we can really crank up the damage. The only problem is my armor stat is now at 371%. It is scientifically impossible for me to take damage from an enemy attack, so I have to think a little bit outside of the box. Now you remember the Fawn Sword that I found earlier? Well, it's a massive sword that consumes 1% of my health points per second. This is pretty good indeed, because by simply holding it out, I'm continuously taking damage. And now that my health is down to 1,500, I can check my character stats and see that my attack speed is now up to 180%, and my melee damage is up to 224. I mean, yes, as you can see, our attack speed is pretty good. The fastest way for me to move around the map is not to run, it is instead just to hit stuff with the sword like this. And on top of this build, we've also improved our own sword a bit more. We've upgraded our cape so that we're now guaranteed to crit on every single attack, and improved our gloves so that we get an extra 69% damage. Nice. Anyway, I'm just going to hold out the sword for a little bit, and then we're going to introduce ourselves to these enemies. Hello there, Camelot deserters. Yep, you guys are looking pretty darn snazzy. Right, come on, why don't you try and attack me? So, yes, I'm not actually taking damage from them, I'm taking damage from holding the Fawn Sword. But now if I pull out my sword and shield, well, something quite funny happens. I can just reflect back my armor stat at them, which just kills them. That's pretty good. Anyway, right, my attack speed should now be significantly higher. Yes, it's up to 300%, and my melee damage is at 277%. So, yeah, as you can see, I can kind of swing my sword rather quickly. All right, let me say hi to this bandit. Goodbye. And how much damage am I about to do to this random man? Ah, it's going to be 13,000 damage, so bonk. Ooh, he's dead. Oh, actually, no, it's not going to be 13,000 damage. I forget. My attack was a critical attack, meaning it actually does 190% extra damage. So yes, it finally feels like we've reached our final form, and so we need a proportional battle to test our strength. There's only one opponent worthy of challenging Tod to a duel, and that's the Green Knight, a supposed immortal being from Arthurian legend, who also apparently possesses some of the best late-game armor that you can acquire. Let's go see if we can kill a legend. Yes, we're going to simply have to fast travel our way over there and oh, okay, right, I appear to be in the terrain. Is it solid? Is this solid at all? Is any of this solid? Partially, okay. What a magical video game world we're playing in. Anyway, we're going to be making our way over to this location where the Green Knight is going to be hiding inside of a tomb. Now, of course, we can open up this door using our Arthur powers, but if you can't be bothered, just save and reload the game and the door will be gone. Oh. Actually, I can't open the door with my Arthur powers. That's quite funny indeed. Well, it's a good thing I have my workaround. Now, here we are inside of the tomb. It's quite a swanky little place. And it's even got enemies defending it, like this guy who died in one hit. And this lady who died in one hit as well. And yes, here he is at the end of the corridor, the one gentleman I've been looking for. The lovely Green Knight. He's wearing some absolutely splendid armor. And he is known as Sir Bertilac. Yes, look at him. He's so darn fancy. And he doesn't appear to have any voice lines. Yep, that's okay. And basically, in order to complete this quest line, this gentleman here wants to die in a glorious final bit of combat. Now, will you fight, he asks. Of course, yes, I challenge you, Sir Bertilac. So be it, may the one who falls find peace. Now, of course, this gentleman is now going to try and kill me. There's just one minor problem. I am a god, and I cannot die by any of your mortal puny means. Swing your axe at me, you fool, you glorious big old oaf. And yes, I am still Tod Howard. Look at me, so menacing and evil. Let me strike a pose. Oh yes, very snazzy as I'm about to be stabbed in the back. Anyway, we're going to let this lovely fight continue, and this gentleman, my goodness, he is quite powerful indeed. This is where his lovely friend lives. Who I think we've accidentally just woken up out of the combat. Yeah, he appears to have woken up. There we go, that's Bertilac dead. So Sir Gawain is dead, and Sir Bertilac has dropped all of his lovely Green Knight gear. Some of this stuff is arguably the most powerful stuff inside of the game. He has an axe that just endlessly prints stamina, a chest plate that infinitely prints stamina, a set of boots that, you guessed it, give you more stamina, a set of gauntlets that for each point of missing stamina increase physical damage by 1%, and of course the Green Knight's helm that increases stamina. I mean, as you can see, these gauntlets here are basically just as broken as the rest of our build. It is very easy to lose stamina. And if each point of stamina can be translated into a 1% increase in physical damage, then yes, this can very rapidly break the game. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's safe to say that we have truly broken this game with the glorious, magnificent, and ridiculous Todd Howard, one of the greatest warriors this universe will ever know. There's nothing in this game that can deal damage to us. There is nothing in this game that we can't defeat by just hitting it with one attack. We have become judge, jury, and executioner for every single atom in this game, and that's a truly glorious position to be in. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and a huge thank you to all of the majestic sausages who make up our YouTube members and Patreons. You're all absolutely fantastic. Anyway, we'll see each and every one of you in the next one. Have a glorious day, and goodbye for now.